Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
I'm Brian Williams.
And welcome to Smirk. Once again, Brian Williams is filling in for Zach Parkerson. And this is our show, which every week, one of our hosts introduces an original story, which we then use as a springboard for a spirited and lighthearted discussion on whatever the moral or theme of their story is. This week it is Amanda's turn. And I'm curious, Amanda, because you can go either way. You either go really dark and morbid, or, well, not dark and clinical.
Weird.
Clinical. Or you get very jovial. So which way were you going this week?
This one's more, I would say more jovial. It's definitely not super dark.
Super dark.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't
really
consider
dark.
it dark.
Jovial for Amanda is apparently one or two shades of black.
It's gray.
Nice. I'm excited to hear what it is. But Brian, thanks again for coming back and filling in for this episode. This is what, your fourth Smirk you've done?
Yeah, this is starting to become a habit. What's up with that?
I know. Well, yo, Zach, I don't know what he's doing. Apparently he's busy. He's doing stuff.
Maybe the people want the Brian.
Oh, the people definitely want the Brian.
On that note, maybe it's time for my story. Jimmy has never been the type to exert endless effort into school. He gets good enough grades and shows up mostly when he feels like it. But school has rarely been challenging enough to feel like it's worth going to and getting an A just because that's the societal expectation. Jimmy's got some learning to do, that's for sure, but he's not an idiot. He can pick up on things quick and usually figures out the answers before his classmates. He knows what he wants to do in life and how to get there, and because he's a bit of an introvert, always feels a little out of place. Money got tight for Jimmy's family and they had to move, causing him to switch to a new school mid-year that had even less student engagement and interest. What the hell's the point? He thought. His first day at the new school and he's in the science class. Surprise! Pop quiz! His teacher instructed him to do his best and she would use that to gauge his academic level, but not for a grade. I ain't doing this shit, man! A boy in the class yelled. Please sit down. We're going to take a test, the teacher told the boy. Jimmy just wanted to take the test and be done. He has the questions, but not the Scantron to fill out the answers. The boy began yelling at the teacher again, who threatened to call the school police. Jimmy, still waiting for the Scantron, begins to get frustrated. At least have someone pass out the Scantrons, he said. The teacher was so frazzled by the boy yelling in the class, who began throwing books around, she dismissed Jimmy promptly. The entire class hour was spent with the boy and the teacher going back and forth. By the time Jimmy and his classmates were able to start the test, there were only 5 minutes left. What's the point? He thought again, heading to his computer class. Jimmy walks into the class and is greeted by a very happy, strong-looking middle-aged man. Hey, welcome, the teacher says. Jimmy replies in his shy tone and finds a seat away from the rest of the class. The teacher begins at the start of the bell and somehow everyone is paying attention. This is nothing like the last one, thank God, Jimmy whispers under his breath in relief. Surely most of these people know how to type on a computer. Why are they all so interested in what this teacher has to say? He's wondering. Jimmy gets called on a couple of times and has the right answer for each question. This teacher knows how to command presence and keep students focused. They all seem to like and respect him. A couple weeks later, with the only class Jimmy regularly attending being that same computer course, in the same place he has lunch every day, Jimmy gets stopped at the bell. How are things going for you? His teacher asks. Not bad, just the same old, Jimmy says. The teacher looks inquisitive. The school offers elective credit for being a TA. Have you heard about that? Jimmy thinks about it for a second. No, I'm not really sure what that is. Teacher's assistant. The student helps the teacher grade, plan, mentor other students. It's really a great opportunity. Jimmy thinks about it. That actually sounds really cool. Do you get to pick the teacher? You can request one, sure. I have a spot open next semester, actually, if you're interested. Really? That'd be great. I'd love to. I'll handle the paperwork on the back end and get you signed up. I think you'd be great in this type of environment. Jimmy smiles, feeling relieved and accepted for probably the first time in his life. I can't wait.
Oh, that was the end of the story?
That's the end of the story. I always end them really weird.
I thought it was going to evolve into a Lifetime movie where Jimmy hooks up with the teacher.
No.
Or Jimmy gets ridiculed his first time he's trying to help one of the other students, and then he goes postal.
See, that's where I could have gone dark, and I did not.
That's super dark.
What do you guys think the moral of this story is?
Well, it felt like an after-school special there a little bit. I'm just kidding. It felt very much like you were trying to say that everyone can be inspired. You just got to find the right motivator.
That's a good one. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, kind of similar. I mean, we're all kind of looking for acceptance and for somebody to believe in us. So, yeah, maybe something along the lines of recognizing kids' potential, giving them a chance.
Yeah, I mean, that all falls in line with what my moral is. My moral is finding one incredible mentor can change your life.
Aww.
I'm going to go with me and Aaron both got it right. Both, like, we'll half it.
You guys get half a point. We'll start keeping track.
That's it.
Do you guys have a mentor, whether it's like a family member, professional, whatever it is that has had the greatest impact on you?
Wow. Not in a while, no. Not in a while. I mean, I have a few friends, Aaron being one of them, that I know I can soundboard stuff off of, but as far as what I think of by a mentor, I'm thinking of somebody older, whatever the case is, whether maybe a religious person or a business person or something along those lines. I don't really have anybody like that in a while.
I do. My former boss, I'll just go back first name Terry. She was quite a inspiration in many ways. Just how she really inspired me on how to lead, how to get the best out of people, how to try to be a motivator for other people. She was definitely a mentor for mine because I probably would have, God knows where my career / life would have went had she not intervened at certain crucial points. So yeah, I would definitely go with her. And
Did
obviously
she
my
change the course of your life by being a mentor?
Yeah, well, I mean, my grandfather would be the first one because he definitely changed the course of my life. But in terms of just work-wise or education-wise, yes, because she really put into perspective how to look at things a little differently, how to don't take certain things personally. Here's how business works. Here's how you get the best out of people. And I don't actually manage or anything the same way that she did, actually. But she taught me, because I have a very different style, but she taught me to embrace the best of yourself and to utilize your assets to kind of grow your own potential and grow your own way of doing things, your own process, and to be comfortable with that, be confident in your own ability. Like just little things that you wouldn't think are that important, but when you're not very sure of yourself in a certain work environment and you have the right person there to remind you that, hey, it doesn't matter what someone else thinks, it matters what you think, and that's the most important factor to growing and developing and learning to lead. And she taught me that.
She sounds like an excellent mentor.
She was a great mentor. Yeah.
Did you guys ever have, and I'll talk about mine a little bit later, but did you guys ever have like any teachers in this story? Jimmy has a teacher that's connecting with him and helping guide him and keep him on track. Did you guys ever have one that you felt connected to as a student?
My French teacher.
She teach you French? Huh?
Well,
that's what they call I don't know what they call it.
A bad joke?
Yeah. It was a bad
Is that
joke.
what they call it?
It was supposed to be double entendre, but I'm like, I don't know how old you were when you had this French teacher, so I should probably tread lightly.
Well, most people take a foreign language around high school, so we'll
All
go
right.
with that. We'll go with that. No, but she was one of the first ones. I had good connections with a couple other teachers and stuff as well, but she was one that really seemed to, I guess, understand you as a person, and just some of the talks about future stuff and life and getting involved in things with the school. It was just more of an input from a teacher than I had from just about anybody else. So yeah, she was always one of my more positive influences as a teacher, and a couple other professional ones from my time in the Coast Guard as well. Just learning things like keeping personal and work stuff separate.
Right.
Literally, there's one guy I worked with. He chewed our butts for like one afternoon, and then 15 minutes later, he was verifying that we were still showing up at his house for a planned dinner that evening.
Mm-hmm.
And that evening was perfect. There was no, you know what I mean? There was no. It was separate. It was a completely different thing from work. So yeah.
No.
Did you not like school?
I was not. I think really school didn't like me, is what it was. It really had a problem with me. Every time I went, it just felt like it gave me attitude, and I did not need that at that age. So I was not. My teachers, every time they were dealing with me, it's usually because I was being a problem. So I was never really inspired, and no teachers really tried to inspire me.
That's kind of unfortunate.
It happens.
I mean, there's historically, like, what people say is they had a teacher at some point that helped inspire them, or they, even if it's just one, you always hear these stories about teachers that had such a positive influence. And so I feel like it's such a rare and unfortunate situation when you don't have a teacher that you feel is reflective of you and wants to help guide you along and mentor you and just make school bearable.
Oh man, I watched Dead Poet Society. I'm like, where was that teacher? Right. I might not have been such a jackass in school. I might not have skipped so many classes, I didn't have any of that.
Have you guys ever been a mentor? Or would you ever be a mentor?
I would.
Do mentors really know that they're mentors? That's my question. I mean,
probably afterwards.
Because I'm sure I have been. I don't really see it that way. I mean, if somebody asks you for advice, you give it to them and they do what they want with it. And I feel like, honestly, when it comes to mentors, I think most people, the people that they would consider their mentors, might not even know that they were the mentor. Like they were just doing whatever they thought was the best thing to help them, and they don't realize it. So I wouldn't know, honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think anybody sets out to be a mentor. I just think it's something that, for whatever reason, you have a connection with somebody, and maybe you see potential in them. Maybe they're asking the right questions, or questions that the average student or younger person or colleague doesn't normally ask. You just help out however you can. And I don't think it's, I'm mentoring this guy, unless there's some kind of, unless it's, an official title.
Yeah.
With a corporate event, something.
I feel like if somebody were to say that, they'd probably be come off a little arrogant, wouldn't they? Like, oh yeah, I'm Billy's mentor. Yeah, I am.
I'm mentoring him.
I mentor the shit out of that guy. Yeah.
So you guys don't have, because I know there are programs where you can be a mentor to somebody in your community. Do you guys see that as like non-authentic, or do you feel like, because maybe it needs to be a natural connection to somebody to help them?
No, that's definitely genuine. Yeah, that's great. Like Big Brother program and stuff like that's when people, they want to give back, they want to help. I mean, I think that's wonderful. I'm just saying, a lot of times when that's somebody who's seeking a mentor, though.
Yeah.
So you kind of, I guess, in that respect, you would know that you would let it. But I don't know. I just think a lot of people, their mentors are people that they come in contact with through life, just normal life stuff, and that's who they would.
Bosses. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they can be a negative influence. Like they can teach you what not to do, where you're like, I don't ever want to follow this style.
Bosses, parents, family members, friends. There's so many different factors. It could be somebody you work with. Like you can be inspired by people you work with. I mean, or that you've known or you come in contact with. Like everybody's got a story, and you never know which one's going to inspire someone.
Do you guys have any stories of people that have come to you later and told you that, whatever advice you gave them helped them in their situation and you were just kind of surprised by it or didn't realize that you were such an important piece to their development and growth, their change in life?
I don't think so. I would love to say, yes, here's a handful of them. But unfortunately, I'm just full of shit. So,
so that's what you offer?
That's what I offer.
That inspires me.
I don't recall any, or if I did, I probably thought they were full of crap. But what do you want? You want money now? Is that what you're telling me?
I've had it happen a couple times, but I mean, that's their story. I don't really like that one. But that's mostly fair. Because of work.
Okay. So you've connected with them through work.
Mm-hmm.
So before I share any more, before I get into other discussion, I want to ask you, do you think my story is truth or fiction?
Oh, truth. It feels true.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'll go with true on that.
It is true. So I was basically Jimmy. I was the type of kid who I guess I was social enough, but when I switched to a different school, and it was not because, there was a lot of different factors, but when I switched to a different school, it was a completely different environment. And it was the strangest transition. There was nobody, they had no transition counselors. They had nobody who helped you figure out what classes you should take or what would be good to you. And just had this awesome mentor throughout. I mean, I met him in my sophomore or junior year or something, and maintained connection to each other into my adulthood. Even using him as a reference for jobs before and acceptance letters to college and just checking in on him and his family. He was a great guy. And I was just talking about this today, which made me think about it and just... I don't know that I've ever fully appreciated the type of mentorship or realized that's what it was until I got older. And everyone always talks about having, even when you're developing your career, having a mentor as an adult. And I'm I haven't had a mentor since I was a kid. And it's just a strange thing that's something that was really beneficial for adults, but we don't have that same type of mentorship, which is basically just our friends and colleagues. I think sometimes our bosses, like Aaron's.
Mm-hmm. People get inspired by all kinds of things. So that's cool.
Yeah, and they can help change the direction for you.
Sure. I mean, I get inspired by, Brett Favre. Does he count? Because Brett Favre inspired the hell out of me.
I don't think he's personally mentored you.
I disagree.
Are we going to bring Uncle Ben into this too?
Uncle Ben definitely inspired me and Peter Parker too. So yes, he's definitely an inspiration. Well, did you know with great power comes great responsibility? I bet you did. And that's because of Uncle Ben.
That's actually a really good point though, Aaron. For Brian, because we've kind of talked about heroes and stuff before, but Brian wouldn't have been on that episode. Brian, even if it's fictional, what's been your inspiration or hero or, what's helped you throughout life as a mentor, even if they were not real?
Holy crap. Wow.
Jesus, my Lord and Savior.
I don't know. Maybe my younger days, I was, believe it or not, very shy.
What?
I went from a small Christian school up till the 8th grade, and then went straight from that to a big, giant public high school. I mean, we had as many people in my freshman class as we probably had in, first grade through 12th grade in the whole school.
Wow.
So where I was like, hey, what's up, everybody? I was all of a sudden I'm thrown into the deep end, and it took a little while to come out of my shell or whatever, and also learn how, I guess, kind of the real world is. Mm-hmm. So I did. I stayed at home a lot. I was big into comic books. I learned a lot of life lessons from those. After high school, Coast Guard, definitely learned a lot of other life lessons through that. But I had a lot of people that I hung out with, and it wasn't just one person, but there was a lot of people that I hung out with that were at least maybe in that 5 to 10 years older than I was range.
It's like a collective for you.
Right. And when you're spending 24/7 with these people for months at a time, and tight, small spaces, you tend to pick things up from people. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I definitely have to give a big thank you to a lot of those people. And again, it wasn't just one. There was dozens of them. Yeah, I'm sure there's some movie influences as well.
That's cool. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to ask you guys before we wrap up this kind of short episode is taking one piece of advice that someone else has given you, not that you've given yourself.
Oh, man, well, that just took all mine.
Tell us your biggest, best, whatever life lesson that someone has given to you.
Ooh.
Well, I can give you that one. My grandpa, he told me long time ago, and I'll probably screw it up when I say it, but the most important thing in life is to have character and not be one.
Ah, I like that. That sounds like it would come from Uncle Ben.
I mean, he was pretty cool, just like Uncle Ben. And unlike Marvel, I remember him.
Oh, wow. I don't know if it's the biggest one. It's the first one that came to mind. But yeah, it was a guy I was stationed with. He eat the frog.
Eat the frog?
What?
Just eat the frog. Yep. It's a phrase. Apparently it's more common than I ever realized. But when you've got to do something that you don't want to do, just do it. Get it over. Just get it over with. Because the more you put it off, it just makes it worse.
Where does the frog come into play here?
I don't know. I looked it up years ago.
Maybe it's like somebody was supposed to eat frog legs and they really didn't want to, but like that's all they had to eat. So somebody was just saying, just eat the frog.
It's actually from Mark Twain.
Oh, okay.
If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first.
Huh.
It's like a lesson to like stop procrastinating, just
Just get it done. Yeah.
I like that.
So it's stop finding an excuse to, you haven't cleaned your house in a month and you've got to mow the yard. Don't be like, well, I got to clean house before I mow the yard, whatever the case is,
Just eat that frog.
Just eat the frog. Just get it done.
I bet frogs hated this analogy. They're like, you know what? This is very unfair. I don't appreciate it. So many buddies have lost legs over this deal.
The one that I think resonated the most for me was essentially, and this isn't, I wish I had it verbatim, but essentially, if you don't put all of your effort into something, you don't have the right to complain about the outcome.
Absolutely.
And it's even sometimes I don't think about that. And then I kind of go back to it and I'm like, okay, even if you get discouraged right away from something, did you do everything you possibly could? Did you exhaust all options? Or, before you throw your pity party?
Right.
So that was definitely a great one that I got from a mentor.
That is a great one. It's factual. I wish more people would adhere to that because so many people like, I think this should be this way. Well, have you made any work toward it? Have you made effort toward it? No, I just think it should be like that. Oh, okay. All right.
My podcast should have 20,000 downloads every day.
Why can't nobody find it? Well,
how many have you recorded? None, but still. They should be waiting for it.
That is an important one, especially in this day and age, man, because so many people they just want instant gratification without doing any work, and I mean, especially the influencer culture and all that jive. I mean, that is just the way that so many people live now. They don't want to do the work. And if you don't put the effort in, you can't really complain that you haven't achieved anything. It's all you. I mean, sure, there's good luck involved, but you got to have some work too.
That's it.
Definitely.
Okay. What is the title of your story?
It Just Takes One.
Oh.
Oh.
And so have you seen this mentor since?
Yes, since I mean, it's been a couple of years now. This mentor did move, to another state. So we've kept in touch periodically, but, it's never something where it's not like it's okay. That was the last time I'm ever going to see or talk to him. No, I mean, he has my email and number, and we're connected on LinkedIn, and, you know, we'll pop in and chat with each other every once in a while.
That's
but
cool. So
he was the best.
So he knows that he was your mentor? You told him?
I would hope so. I've told him like how appreciative I am of everything that he's done for me, because if it wasn't for him, I got into this program called dual credit also. So I was his teacher's assistant, and that helped kind of salvage my sanity because I hated the school I was at so much, and gave me an opportunity to not have to take another boring class I didn't want to take and could do something that I actually enjoyed. And then he was like, why are you taking all of your classes here? You could be doing dual credit, which is where you're in high school and you're in college at the same time. You just take the classes at the college level course at the college, and then they count for high school credit. No counselor or anybody ever told me about it. It was him who told me about it and said, go talk to your counselor. There's zero reason why you should just be taking these high school classes. Like, you're done with the work. You're getting a smaller grade because you're not showing up to classes. Just go to the college, and it's paid for. And it was great. I mean, he really did everything he possibly could. He showed up to my high school graduation party. You know, and then when we reconnected, I showed up at a school because I was doing these.
You were seeing another teacher? Is that
sort of. So I do these observations. There's this really cool organization that gives awards to the teachers. And so they have these observation committee members. And so I was going to his school that I knew he was now the principal at, and went over there for my observation, and then stopped by and was like, hey, can I see so-and-so? And they were like, yeah, he's in his office. And he was like, oh my gosh. And we chatted till the end of his school day.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Must be cool to have teachers that inspiring. All mine were like, go to the principal.
And they just didn't want to deal with you. Oh.
You inspired them to drink heavily, I'm sure.
To try drugs.
And I went to school at a time. I'm not even that old, man, but God, I don't think you could ever do it now. But I even had a principal who inspired me so little. She had a paddle that she whipped me with, that she spanked me with, a paddle, the principal's paddle. I don't know if you had those, Brian, but like, you could never do that today. Can you imagine if they did that today?
You could not. You could not.
Yep.
So that's the only inspiration I ever had.
I met the holy paddle more than it had holes. You know, everybody said the holes drilled into it to give it less air reduction or whatever. So it let more air flow so they could swing it faster or something. That was the stories in school, but yeah.
Oh, how times have changed. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Smirk. Remember, you wouldn't know this. That's going to do it for this episode of Smirk. And we want to tell you, we are going to take a little bit of time off because the schedules, as you've noticed the last few episodes, schedules have been very hard to accommodate. So we're just going to take a little break for summer, and we'll be back sometime, probably late August, early September, somewhere in there. We'll definitely put out a notice that we are coming back. So stay subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed, and you'll get notifications that way. You know, we're just going to take a little bit of a break, but you can still review us. Please, if you listen to the show, review us in your Apple Podcast app and use the show's hashtag Smirk when you share it on your social medias so other people can find it. We've got like 90 episodes almost of the show that people can go back and listen to while we're on our little hiatus.
And as you write your own life story, always remember to tell it with a smirk.
You know, Brian Williams is an inspiration because he inspired me to stop saying hillbilly and redneck when someone has a southern accent.
That's right.
Oh no.
That's right. It is offensive. I am offended by it. It is a derogatory term. So I am a Southern American.
He has Southern charm.
The more you know. Well, charm doesn't sound negative.
That's a separate issue.
That's not offensive. Nobody's ever heard, you have Southern charm. You son of a bitch! No one's ever felt like that. But they have like, oh, hillbilly? Oh, good. I haven't heard this before. Because I have that accent? That's cool. You know what? Your accent sounds like a dumbass. What's that about?
That's right.
So I am grown as a person. Not much. It's like a half an inch, but a little bit.